This is the Kelp Father, Mark Gunn, and I have a really interesting story to tell about the new CD that I am currently working on, and it sort of swims around a little bit. And it made me think of the Salmon of Knowledge, a Irish fairy mythology story from Irish mythology, and so I thought I'd start by telling you a little bit about that, and then how this all comes together. It's not really very linked, but I was been curious about Irish mythology for a while. In fact, I love mythology in general, and so whenever I find a book on Irish mythology, I usually, in Ireland or whatnot, I usually pick up a copy, and lo and behold, this story seems to be repeated a lot. However, I've never heard of it in my American upbringing. I am, an American, and I was not raised with Irish or Scottish history or traditions, much else. I was basically, your every average day American who's a little ignorant of their own past. But we know that we are Celts and whatnot, whatnot. So, in any case, the Salmon of Knowledge, the story begins with 9 hazel trees surrounding the Well of Knowledge, and 9 hazelnuts fall off into the water, and they are imbued with all the wisdom of the world. And a generic everyday salmon comes along, eats those hazelnuts, and gains all of that knowledge. Now, Finnegas, a poet, learns about this salmon has eaten all the knowledge of the world, and realizes that if he eats the salmon, he will gain all of that wisdom. He spends 7 years fishing for this salmon. About the end of that period, he gets a servant named Finn McCool, a famed Irish boy at this point in time, and he takes him under his sleeve, and he tells him, the boy is wanting to learn about gain more wisdom too, and he tells him about the Salmon of Knowledge. But he says, we're going to catch this thing, and one day the boy actually does catch it, and Finnegas says, I'm going to, I want you to cook it, and I'm going to eat it. So, but don't eat it yourself, because he knows that whoever eats the fish will get all the wisdom of the world. So Finn McCool starts cooking the fish and flipping it. Finally, he decides to test it. He takes his thumb, he puts it on the fish's skin, touches some oil on the skin, and all of a sudden, the wisdom of the world is in him through that little touch through his thumb. Finnegas comes along. He sees the light in Finn McCool's eyes, and he says, "Oh my gosh, you ate the fish." He says, "No, I didn't eat it." And he shows him the fish, and he says, "Oh, well, what happened?" And he tells them they touched it and touched the oil. And he says, "Oh, you touched the oil, you got all the wisdom, go ahead and eat the fish." And so Finn McCool gains the wisdom of the world, which he apparently can, from that point on, call to his favor whenever he sucks on his thumb, basically, chews on his thumb. So that's the story of the wisdom of knowledge, the Salmon of Knowledge. And the reason it came up into my mind is, one, because I'm, a Celt, and I've been trying to learn a little bit about these things, but also because of the fish. I feel like the way my mind works, the way I have always approached things, is very fish-like. Maybe it's because I'm a Pisces, but it's constantly, as new things come along, I adjust. So one of the examples is over on Patreon, I hit a milestone. The milestone was set last year, $500. One of the things I would do is record a 4-song EP of Firefly Drinking Songs. Now, Firefly Drinking Songs, of course, was originally released with the Bedlam Bards. It was a huge success. And so this is one of the reasons I was like, well, I knew there's a bunch of Browncoats that have been waiting on for me to release, in particular, the Reaver's Lullaby, which is a parody of Close Your Eyes, the Demon Lullaby, but sung about reavers. And they've been waiting for this to be on something. So I wanted something to push me, to encourage me to go ahead and record that song. And I also said I would do another one, which is Blue Sun, which at the time I hadn't recorded, but obviously I put out on Kilted King's album, Name on My Soul. So we hit that milestone last week as I started raising funds for the next CD that I want to fundraise for, and haven't had much time to actually promoting. But last week I sat down and I said, okay, I need to nail these out. I need to get some recordings done for this EP because I'm good at procrastinating and I don't want to procrastinate. So I sat down and I started recording, and my whole recording idea, it started with an idea I had last year. I wanted to do a podcast that was sort of like a live radio show. From Canton on Higgins Moon in the Firefly verse. The idea would be I'd be up there doing an interview, and plus I'd be talking, playing some songs and stuff. That's how it all started. But I started fusing various things into it. One of the things is that, coming from playing Irish rebel songs over the years, I was kind of inspired to do this idea of a sort of I wanted to do another Firefly Drinking Songs show, but I was thinking about doing it as sort of like the Irish IRA used to do when they'd play at pubs and they'd fundraise for the cause, right? And I was thinking that would be kind of an interesting little twist, because the Browncoats, the independents, they endured a lot against the Alliance. The Alliance was the larger entity, and they had a lot to fight against, and they had to find a way to, number one, finance some of the stuff. So I could imagine that, pub singers like I sometimes pretend to be in the Firefly verse, that they might have been out there raising funds to help pay for the war for independence against the Alliance. So that's where the idea started, and I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and record a few extra songs. I'll do it like a 6-song EP and really blow the minds of my patrons, get them really excited. And so I started off with, I think, the Firefly theme song, played that. Then I put on Blue Sun, and then I think that's when I came in with the Reaver's Lullaby, and then I was like, oh, let's see, what else should I do? And I was like, well, what I haven't done in a while, there's a whole bunch of songs that I sing at my shows, my Firefly Drinking Songs shows, that are that were originally recorded by the Bedlam Bards on the Firefly Drinking Songs CD. So I was like, well, I'll go ahead and record some of those, like Jane, the man they called Jane. I'm drawing a blank on the name, but the man they called Jane, not the hero of Canton, but the other song. He's dumb, but he's tough. He likes to shoot stuff. He don't give a damn what you think. So I thought I'd record that. I recorded that, and I also wanted to record the final track from the Bedlam Bards album, Sail the Sky, which I love and I use as a closer for the Firefly show. So I recorded that, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. I had asked Ree Sheridan Rose to write me some Firefly Drinking Songs that I could release. Oh, and I put on The Long Arm, which is my newest song, Firefly song that I've written, and I absolutely love the song. But I also asked Ree Sheridan Rose to write some lyrics. So I was like, well, then I should at least make sure I put at least one of those. She wrote like 5 or 6 lyrics, and it'd be rude not to do that. So I was like, well, as long as I'm at this point, and at that point I was at like 10 songs. I was like, or 9 songs or something like that. I was like, I pretty much have a CD here. All I have to do is record a couple more songs. So I recorded. She said her name was Saffron, which was on What Color's Your Dragon, and most people don't buy that album much anymore. So I was like, oh, what the heck? I'll put that on there. And then I was like, well, let's go ahead and record another. Write another, set some more music to one of Ree's songs, and I recorded another song. And so at that point I had 11 tracks, and I was like, well, this is a new album. I have a new Firefly album, which is kind of awesome. Now what am I doing with this whole thing? I was supposed to be raising money to pay for the next album, what I call it, Irish Adventures on Higgins Moon. Well, that title's pretty much gone now because I'm pretty much going to use these songs for. I'm going to put these songs on the new. I'm not going to put these songs on the new CD. So this is now a Firefly CD. And thus was born this new album, which I'm still looking to name. I'm looking at the name. There's a couple that seem to be popular with my patrons: Browncoat Uprising and Browncoats Forever. Those are the two tracks names, the album names that I'm looking at right now. And this is where I felt like the Salmon of Knowledge came in, because I adjust, like I said, very easily and change as things come. So now I am no longer trying to raise money for Irish Adventures on Higgins Moon. I'm trying to finish funding this album of Firefly songs. But that's the way it kind of works. You know, my goal in releasing setting up this fundraiser in general was basically to try to at least pay for 2 albums a year. It might turn into more, and I still might turn into more. It looks, because I would still like to hit that goal of $1,200 and be able to fund another album. But right now, this is what I'm going to focus on. I'm looking for contributors, musicians to collaborate with, and see if I can come up with something. So I already talked to Rudiger Reinhardt, aka Antastel, who helped record the Feliz Navidad Irish version of Feliz Navidad, Nalchanadiv. And so he's going to help me record, and there might be others, but we'll see. But it did raise up some interesting questions as to how this is all going to go down. I have decided that I'm not planning at present to release a regular CD. I mean, I will for you, my patrons, that is. Anyone who's a patron of my music over on Patreon, you can, sign up at that Kickstart new CD level, and I will get you a physical copy of the CD if you so desire. For everyone else, I'm basically going to be, this is going to be a Patreon exclusive album. This is something that I've been brainstorming for a while as I continue to look for new ways to adjust to the change in the music business with, CD sales declining. I need to get new people signed up to support my craft, my art, my music. And so thus was born this idea. And so far, everything's going great. I am, like I said, we hit a new level. It's not climbing super high, super fast. Again, I haven't done much to promote it. However, this Tuesday, tomorrow that is, I'm going to be doing a show on Facebook Live, and I'm going to do that each Tuesday this month. So if you want to watch me perform live, I'll be obviously playing songs that my patrons want to hear. And I think this particular recording is going to go out to the Kilt Father mailing list, podcast list as well. But it will be interesting seeing how everything comes together. There are some big changes in the music business, and I'm adapting. So adapting like the fish, like the salmon of knowledge, learning as I go and adjusting to my times. Someone once said, people have often said how much they were so impressed by my marketing skills. I don't really feel like I'm a great marketer in general. Yes, I do feel like I'm above average, but not great. What I've always had, the number one trait that I've had is persistence and repetition. So I do more than most people in the music business do. Before I had a family, I worked 15-hour days. I basically worked all the time. And occasionally took a break. Said, I'll take a break. My body suffered as a result, but I was working all the time because that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to make music my life and my business, and I was succeeding at that. now I have barely any time to work, 4 to 8 hours a week if I'm lucky. And so I don't, all of a sudden my marketing skills are severely lacking. That's the reason I look more and more to you to help spread the word about my music, and I hope you will do that. I also hope, if you are not currently subscribed to the Celt Father podcast, that you will do so at keltfather.com, and if you're not currently a patron, sign up at markgunn.net. That'll shoot you straight over to Patreon, where you can sign up and support my music for as little as $1 a month, and you will get this album when it is released for just $1 per month if you choose that level, or the physical CD for just $12 per month. That's all it takes, and you will get something extra special. And I'm gonna see how this works for a while, and I might again adjust as things go. So thank you again. Head on over to keltfather.com. Talk to you later, Slancha.